Hello, welcome to your edition of our show, Money Means Business. And as we always say, business means money. Stability and business mean a lot of money, and there is a lot happening on the local level as well as Middle East and international, all of course interconnected. There is a lot I'm going to be talking about, a myriad of issues with my guests, but starting about the latest developments, and before, of course, talking to that, on behalf of Nile TV and actually myself, my colleagues, and my guests, and who are going to be talking right now, we'd like to wish the Arab world and Egypt very happy 6th of October, and the whole week that is marking the 46th anniversary of the victory of Egypt, 6th of October, or that was marked by Yom Kippur, and that was a great victory and date that all Egyptians will always remember. On the 46th anniversary, 46 years elapsed on this victory, and still Egypt is steadfast. And we're going to be expanding more, of course, about that. But going to our issue and going to talk about that, we've got good news that is, of course, known to everybody here, since the fuel prices were just a kind of concern to everybody and affect a lot of other prices. Egypt's Fuel Automatic Pricing Committee has reduced the prices of fuel in the local market by 25 piastres per litre. The new prices per litre are 6.5 pounds for 80-octane gasoline, 7.75 pounds for 92-octane gasoline, and 8.75 pounds for 95-octane gasoline. The committee has also decreased the price of industrial use mazot by 250 pounds per tonne, putting the price of the tonne at 4,250 pounds. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund hailed the government's decision to lower fuel and some petroleum products prices. An IMF expert said that amending the prices goes in line with an automatic pricing policy announced by the government in July, allowing it to amend the prices of petroleum products every 3 months. And with us online, Engineer Osama Kamal, former Minister of Petroleum. Hello, sir.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir, and very happy 6th of October Victory Day, 46th anniversary.
I want to seize this opportunity to congratulate every Egyptian, especially the military guys who have made this miracle.
Definitely. Sir, this news about the prices of fuel that were reduced for 25 piastres, would you expand on that, and how is this reduction affecting other prices?
Frankly speaking, we have started the application of this formula something like 6 months ago. And this is something well known everywhere, that pricing, the fuel prices are controlled by a formula. In this formula, we have many parameters.
Yes.
Number one, the quantity of consumption of each product. Number two, the oil international prices. Number three, the exchange rate. And more and above, the political factor as well. So, as you're aware, we have, over the last 12 years, we have injected more than 1.3 billion Egyptian pounds as fuel subsidy. And this has affected the other life requirements like education, health, everything was affected by this number. Mm-hmm. And in reality, there was no reflection on the poor people who are looking for this subsidy.
Yes.
So this should have been redirected in services, in public services, submitted to everybody, like transportation, health, and education.
Yes.
By applying this equation, we have to consider the parameters that I mentioned before every 3 months and start the implementation, taking into consideration the relative weight of each product in this formula. We have taken some corrective steps within a reform program that have started 3 years ago,
Yes.
and by which we are reducing the subsidy, the fuel subsidy, and redirecting it to the other directions, as I said. This time, we were lucky a little bit, as the oil prices didn't go up, despite all the geopolitical
Yes.
reasons around us. But we're lucky that the oil prices didn't went up. Also, we have taken some corrective measures regarding the hedging of the oil prices. As well, the exchange rate was not impacted this time. We were expecting that the oil exchange rate, the U.S. exchange rate
Yes.
might be in the range of 16.5 pounds per dollar. Fortunately, this came down to 16 point something, and we did not consider anymore the fixation of the taxation dollar.
Yes.
Keeping all
Engineer Osama
factors in
Kamel,
mind
former Minister of
and
Petroleum,
applying
thank you very
the
much for being with us. And we're back again, and I'd like to expand more on other issues also. We have President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who met on Saturday with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, Planning Minister Hala Saeed, and Minister of Communication Amr Talat. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassem Radi said that President al-Sisi stressed that the arm of moving the government headquarters to the new administrative capital should be building an efficient administrative system characterized with governance and capable of meeting the citizens' demands and fulfilling their needs and aspirations. The meeting also tackled the latest steps taken to move the ministry's buildings and various government agencies to the new administrative capital. During the meeting, the head of state was also briefed on the steps of launching the Fund of Long Live Egypt, as he gave his directives to guarantee that the fund will have its share in the ideal management of the state assets and maximizing their value. And the Ministry of Social Solidarity said that more than 50% of October pensions was passed through 3 days. The ministry said that the payment process started from Tuesday, October 1st at all ATMs of the national banks. The payment announced amounted to over 8.18 billion Egyptian pounds, while the total amount of pensions is 15.7 billion pounds. The ministry also said that the direct cash payment was also available at posts and social insurance offices. And we have with us our guests who are honoring us with their presence tonight. We have with us Dr. Saeed Al-Khouli. And Dr. Saeed Al-Khouli is Professor of Business Administration Entrepreneurial. And welcome, sir, with us.
Thank you.
And also what would like to talk about is the great news that you gave us. Not only that, you are appointed the chair of the Promotion Committee of Professors and Associate Professors, High Supreme Council of Universities, Business Administration.
Thank you.
We congratulate you.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that post. That is needed nowadays. And we do have with us also Professor Dr. Alaa Al-Shazly. Thank you very much for being with us, Dr. Alaa. And before starting our talk, we are just celebrating since a week right now, and we've been celebrating the October victory.
True. It's a great day, of course, for Egypt and the Egyptian people. It makes every one of us proud of our history, of our achievement. Throughout our history, the Egyptian military armed forces have been an important element in the Egyptian's life. And this is one of the major contributions in modern history.
Yes.
For the country. It makes every one of us, as I said, very proud of the achievements It changed not only the political aspects in the region, but also the economic. It had economic, social, political implications for the whole region. So it's a great achievement, and we are very, of course, we must be very pleased to celebrate it one year after another. And we expect even more achievements, as we are seeing nowadays, with the contribution from the armed forces and the solidarity with the Egyptian people and so on, making more achievements nowadays, and the continuation of the great achievement that was done before, of course, in 1973 war.
Definitely. We need the spirit of October that many of our youth don't really know what it is about. And allow me to say one thing is that our age ranges allowed us to witness that. And even though we were young, but then we could feel it. And we do have recollections of the songs, the feelings, the news, the happiness, a lot that we shared that time.
And great days, of course.
Definitely, that our youth were not as lucky as really we were. It was the making also of history. Now, you know, Dr. Said Al-Khouli.
That's our duty for
Yes.
young generation to explain to them 6th of October came after 7 years
Yes.
of defeat in 67, where the Egyptian spirit was in a downturn.
Yes.
The leadership of, at that time, President Sadat, he built the emotion for Egyptian people, for the Egyptian army, with all different forces, the Air Force, the Army, the Marine Forces, with their determination to really win this war. We were against the war, not only Israel, but against the superpower at that time. And we won the war. I remember it was the Russian expertise in war. They said, if you really go through the canal, if you cross the canal, you will lose 80% of your troops. With the determination of Egyptian army,
Yes.
we are able to really go through all of that.
Yes.
With what I remember, my brother was in the first line in the war, and he, of course, he got into the army in 66, and 67 it was a defeat, and during 3 years after that, until we went to the war in 73, I remember that very well as it happened right now. And it's our duty to explain the successful story of Egyptian army, not only tomorrow as the 6th of October, but we should really repeat that in a daily basis.
Yes.
We should really educate our kids in schools, in university, about the successful story of the Egyptian win in 6th of October. And we should promote that in a daily basis, in a monthly basis, in a weekly basis, and invite the people who went through this war and explain to our generation, because basically it's 46 years and a lot of generation generated, and we should really, it's our role in university, in schools, to explain what's the meaning of the 6th of October, what's the meaning of Egyptian army. I believe Egyptian army, it is the strongest army in the area right now, and without the Egyptian army, we're not going to be here today. After 2 revolutions, the Egyptian army stand with the people of Egypt, because Egyptian army, it's my brother, it's my sister, it's my son, it's my father. It is made from the Egyptian people who are not exporting army like other country. So there is a lot of success story, and we should really transfer this success story to all generation, 46 and below, through education, university, high school, and so on. I believe it is a big win, and we have a great army, and we stand, all of us, all Egyptians, stand behind the Egyptian army.
Definitely.
And God bless Egypt.
Definitely. God bless Egypt. And also, let me say what Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said when you just choose soldiers, I mean, from Egypt.
Absolutely.
Yes, so that was not vain, actually. That was, it was proven with our armed forces, our soldiers, comprising, of course, officers, all the soldiers that fought for Egypt, and we hail the martyrs that gave their lives and still offering their lives for the safety of Egypt and for preserving peace. And President Sadat, may he rest in peace, the hero of war and peace. Well, talking about that, and all related right now with all the efforts to rebuild the new Egypt, we do have lots of issues to talk about. We do have, again, the oil prices. Let me, start from what we started with in this episode. The oil prices were going down. They just, it might seem that this is a slight reduction, but then it makes a lot of sense. And in other countries, they would do that. And it affects lots of other the market everywhere.
Sure. Of course, the good thing about it is that people would start to feel that the policies are responsive to market forces more than before as we go into a more market-oriented economy.
Yeah.
The government announced before that while liberalizing the price policy for fuel and power generation and so on, that it will the prices are likely to fluctuate according to supply and demand forces in the international market, and that would reflect on us as well. And this is the first time that this materializes. So this makes the reform policies of Egypt more credible.
Yeah.
People would make sense out of these policies, even though it is just 25 pesos. Some people would say, oh, it's not that much, but it's a good start.
Yes.
It's a signal, a positive signal sent to different sectors in the economy that prices can go down. It remains, of course, to make sure that this applies as well to transport sector, to other sectors like electricity, that take fuel as their input in their activities or in their production. So, good step I see that fits well with the recent economic reform program that Egypt has embarked on in 2016. And it's sending, as I said, a positive signal to market participants that the Egyptian economy is becoming more market-oriented. It is now on a more solid basis than it used to be a few years ago when it was built on subsidies, and these price distortions affected the efficient running of different ministries and different sectors in the economy, that they had to suffer sometimes of financial hardships or so on in their financial planning. Things are going to change with these new policies that Egypt have adopted, and we are starting to see. We are seeing the start of this happening now.
Yeah.
This is a positive step to the economy. Yeah.
We were discussing, well, some people just, some people would like to push forward negative ideas and said, well, this is, the international, as if it's one price, international prices for fuel, and we are just following that. When we looked at that, there's like different other countries are a lot more expensive than what we have. Plus, this is, if we talk about that in addition to other indexes, then, as you said, this is a start and it's just going in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
The interest rates. Now, with the interest rates, with the reduction also in it, just went down.
Mm-hmm.
What is the effect of that, and what is the meaning of the interest rate in going down?
It means more investment. Because before, when the interests were in the age of 20% and so on, what should I invest? So I put my money in the bank, and I get 20% without any. So we talk here health fertility. I have no risk by putting my money in the bank and getting 20%. Why should I go to business? Why should I invest? Now, with the reduction of interest rate, as you mentioned in the last few days, it means there is more investment. It will go into the economy. More investment, whether it's a local investment from inside Egypt or foreign direct investment. They will come and invest in Egypt. And what investment simply mean, whether it's local or foreign direct investment, it means more project, more industry, more agriculture, more in social sector, and more employing people. So the employment, I believe it will go down. More than that, if you look at the unemployment rate, it went down. Now it's around 8%, which it was over 18% before. All of that, it will bring more investment. Investment means more people will go into the workforce. It means in the later stage, it will improve the standard of living of most of the Egyptian people. More investment means will bring more technology or high technology to our industry, upgrading our industry, upgrading our public sector. And it means simply in a few years, you will see different Egypt. And I remember when I was in the state, when the oil price changed by 1 cent, by 1 cent goes down, the people are very happy. I don't know why is the rumor is 25 piastre is not good enough. It will be 50. In the next stage, it will be 75. It will go down. And I remember also the exchange rate went down.
Yes.
I remember a few years ago, 2-3 years, it was $1 equal to 20 and 21 Egyptian pound. Now it's 16.3, which it means improvement. A strong Egyptian currency, it leads to more development, and we are going into the right direction. I'm not saying that in a local base between us, no. There is 8 international reliable institution index shows Egypt in the right direction. There is development in all different sectors in Egypt. So there is a growth rate is going up. I believe within 2 years, exactly 2 years, we'll see different Egypt in the future.
Definitely, with all the
because of the infrastructure we have with the power supply and all of that, and we start to gain the fruit of Egypt Vision 2030.
Well, let me just also mention, since we're talking about oil also, in the middle, you mentioned that, when there is a reduction, they're happy in the West that during the October War, the Arab countries producing, they cut production, or let's say, the export of oil to the West. So that was a big crisis, actually.
And that is the spirit of October. It's not only the war, it is how you unite all different Arab neighbors, not like what we have right now, in one vote, which is, it was very important issue against the whole world,
Definitely.
It is very important, unity.
Right now it's like, well, interfere and let them dissect Arabs, not only from each other in each country, there are just endeavors to do that. Since we are talking about, do you have any comments?
Yes, of course. The interest rate, that's again another positive development happening on the inflation side.
Yes.
The interest rate, the central bank has a target for interest rate, and this forms its policy around it. And the main issue is to control inflation.
Yes.
The more you have some improvements on this track, the more you will see a reduction in the interest rate going back to normal levels. As Professor Said said, it was as high as 20 at some point of time. And that would encourage savings, yes, but not much into productive sectors for investments and so on. Now we are seeing a reverse of this process. Interest rate is going back to its normal levels. This should encourage financing of investment projects on one hand. On the other hand, it means that there is a better control over inflation rates. And this is also related to the improving exchange rate of Egyptian pound vis-a-vis the major foreign currencies. So if you look at the picture as a whole, the reform programs, the economic reform programs of Egypt are paying off. More favorable macroeconomic indicators,
Yes.
better control over inflationary pressures, improvement in government finance, improvement in the ability of, and hence the improvement in the central bank to control inflation and to achieve its inflation targets.
Yes.
It's very positive. And also, mind you that while the interest rate was high as 20%, around that level, the central bank had to announce some initiatives for the productive sectors, whether in industry, agriculture, or in tourism and the other sectors, to not to stifle business life. Now, as this initiative, there will be one point of time where this initiative will come to an end. And with the reduction of interest rate towards their normal levels, that would be a natural happening in the economy, that this initiative will no longer exist, but the businesses can go to the banking sector and have meet their financial needs at reasonable interest rate level gradually. So this is taking place. It's an intermediary stage and very sensible at the macroeconomic level.
Yeah.
That's good news. I see it a very positive development.
We're talking about macroeconomic level. What about the microeconomic level? Now, you know, how much, you know, with the...
This has to do with how institutions work at the micro level, if that's what you mean. The pricing policies that you mentioned at the beginning of the program, the gas prices, the decline and so on, would affect at the micro level, the cost of production.
Yes.
It would help to reduce cost of production. That's why I'm saying that we are hopeful that the other sectors would respond to this decline in gas prices, especially the electricity, transport sectors, which are two major sectors in any economy.
Yeah.
It affects the cost of production in an important way. We expect that it becomes more reflective of what's happening in the market. As we see more of this happening to the Egyptian economy, this means that the Egyptian economy is run on sound basis, on sound market basis.
Yeah.
Which means also at the micro level you can take decisions with more transparency in terms of policy matters and so on. That the policies are the macroeconomic policies are paying off would reflect also on the micro level, the firm level, for example. So yes, it has positive implications at the micro level, in addition to the institutional development that has been taking place in the country now for a number of years, and it's also paying off. So coming from both sides, removal of price distortions and improvement on institutional development. At the macro level, things look okay.
Definitely. We're going for a short break, after which we're coming back. Stay tuned, don't go away. we're back again with our guests, Dr. Alaa Shazly. Thank you again, sir, for being with us. And
Thank
Dr.
you.
Saeed Al-Khouli, you honored us with your presence, gentlemen. I'd like, before we go on, economically speaking, of course, it all affects, all is interrelated. Your promotion as chair of promotion committee for professors and for associate professors, the High Supreme Council of Universities in the business administration. It's very important since we're talking about the improvement in education, and it's all needed. What are your plans?
First of all, there is about 126 committee for all different branches of science in university.
Yes.
Our mission in this committee is to promote professor from associate professor to professors,
Yes.
from assistant professor to associate professor, for all universities all over Egypt, whether it's public university or private university. Our role in the tenure or promotion committee is to enhance the international publication for the Egyptian university.
Yes.
Enhancing international publication, it simply means our rank worldwide, it will increase. So our first objective beside promoting people from different professors from different university all over Egypt, is to really make the awareness for the importance of international publication. The more we publish in international journals, which it has a high rank, of course, so we move from local to global. We move from publishing in local journals here in Egypt, whether in public university or private university, to international publication in international journals. This, it will give us the advantage of increasing our ranking, which will start to be within the 500 universities worldwide, and hopefully by the end of this committee, we try to improve this rank to be among the 500 or among the top 200 university. Egyptian education, it needs this kind of committee to really enhance and make awareness for our faculty in all different university in order to increase our publication in the future. Of course, part of our job in this committee, not only promoting, is simply to make international conference where we invite people from all over the world to give us the state of the art of knowledge in business administration, because I'm responsible for only business administration. I hope all the same for other 126 committee. This is a very, very important role for our committee, and work day and night in order to achieve our goals, inshallah, in the future.
Definitely.
Sure.
Wish you all the best.
Thank
and
you.
of course, wishing
Thank you.
Egypt all the best and all that. But again, the ranking of, let's say, Egyptian universities, for some time, we had like, we stopped with the two revolutions we had, and it was really hard, tough time that we went through. I remember when we were talking, we were just talking about, okay, we did not, it was like, should we do the plans, should we do rehabilitation, everything, reconstructing everything at the same time simultaneously or one by one, and we were discussing that. Now we're discussing, well, the effect, and a lot, in very few years, a lot has been happening positively.
That's the leadership of President Sisi. He's going in all different directions.
Yes.
He is going into the industrial sector, he's going to agriculture sector, infrastructure sector, education and health care sector. Don't forget the campaign for health care for all Egyptians.
Definitely.
And ensure all Egyptian people against all disease is very important issue. He's putting a lot of effort right now in inviting international universities to be in Egypt to issue a certificate from American, from all over the world in the new capital of Egypt. I remember Dr. Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, he just announced 3 technological university, big university from the world that will come and started already in September 2019. So President Sisi is going in all different directions, and we should really salute him for doing that. It's not only taking one sector, but he's working all different sectors. And as you mentioned, in the micro level, we start to feel the fruits of the strategy. We start to feel the fruits. Of course, there is a lot of change.
Yes,
And there is also resistance to change.
of course.
And we should really stand as Egyptian
Yes.
in all different level behind this man, because he means well for the Egyptian people.
Definitely. So, well, amid all that, of course, we had the fluctuations and in the stock exchange transactions, and then some who were ill wishers, let's say, for and trying to create trouble and mobilize people to create havoc in Egypt. We're thinking they're affecting the stock market, but it again recuperated. Would you please?
So, of course, yeah. Again, there is a positive development on that side as well with the decline in interest rate. That means that people can shift from less risky investments in the form of bank deposits to more or riskier investments in the capital market or in the capital market. That would go into inject into firm investment in different sectors. That's positive. That more direct investment through financing the financial needs, whether through equity, new equities, or in the secondary market, equity issues, or in through secondary market, and so on. The transaction and liquidity that is improving on the stock exchange because of this makes it more attractive to investors, whether local or foreign. Again, you see that it's all coming down to improvement in the economic management of in the country. This is again good achievement for the government of Egypt. It should be praised for its efforts. We are seeing positive developments, macro at the micro level as well. And more, the micro is harder kind of reform. So people should also be patient in reaping the fruits of these reform programs that the country has been following for now since 2016. I think it's all paying off. The longer term good of the economy, it's all for the sake of the longer term good of the economy. There are signs that this is materializing. It might take some time at the micro level because it's the harder type of reform, as I said, but we see that the beginning of these positive developments, there are signs of it. In terms of, for example, better control over inflation, reduced interest rate, improvement on, as I said before, on government finance, the ability of ministries to finance their expansionary investment projects that would help them to improve the quality of life on this land. So all of this, as you said, yes, there are interacting forces, and the news about this, it's happening on the positive direction.
Definitely. And combined, we see, for example, day by day, the shabby areas are being rebuilt into respectable apartments for the people there, and even furnished apartments for them to just live a better life, and then also launching the initiative of a dignified life, plus like the initiatives of say hepatitis C and the eyes, cancer for women, all interconnected. But you said better control of that. I said, better control of the population that is rising very fast. It's that is let's say a problem facing all the development with the fast rising population of Egypt.
I believe Egypt is moving toward the right direction.
Yes.
I believe Egypt is changing in the right way. For every change, there is a resistance to change.
Definitely.
And the more we talk about negative, the more negative we'll get.
Yes, it's like
So
the mind
let's-
attracts what it
Let's
thinks
change
of.
the culture
Yeah,
of Egyptian thinking. Let's talk positive.
yeah,
Let's talk about the spirit of October. Let's talk about the development what we have. And as I mentioned before, all Egyptian people, they have the will and inshallah will have the drive in order to overcome all obstacles we have in the last few years. Remember, Egypt went through 2 revolutions. Look for the other country which it have the same situation. There is no infrastructure.
yeah. I see problems in
now,
Iraq.
now Egypt, it's safe,
Yes,
stable, and there is resistant forces outside of Egypt and inside Egypt.
yes,
They don't want to see this kind of stability,
yeah,
and they fight very hard to bring Egypt down.
yeah.
Egypt will stand and will be in a very good stand within 2 years, even before that, and the Egyptian people should be united together in order to achieve our goals in the future. I believe in the Egyptian people. I believe in the youth, which is the majority of Egyptian. We should listen to the positive side of whatever we are doing.
Yeah.
We should stand together as a team in order to enhance our manufacturing sector, our tourism sector, our agriculture system, educational health care, and all of this will come gradually in a very short period of time.
Yes.
And I believe we're moving in the right direction.
Well, we do have, youth, have not lived what we lived, since we're talking about the October spirit and that time. Some are just trying to get that and live it, but it's not as us that lived this period of time. So how can we make the new generations feel what we felt and really get the October spirit in order to, well, many of them are just, wonderful youth, of course, but I'm talking about understanding what we went through, what Egypt went through, and that, we don't want to live any of that again. We're going forward. We're not intending by any means to go back or just look back again in any way.
I think media has a major role to play on for this, and they have to remind the people as reminding the people of Egypt, not only the youth but also the elderly. Where were we before the 73 war?
Yes.
And what happened at that time and after it, and the challenges that the country have passed through and managed to go through all this in a successful way in general.
Yes.
And if you look now, Dr. Saeed was talking about the comprehensive approach to improving the quality of life in Egypt. All this should raise our morale and our spirits here in Egypt for different generations, and should take it as a further energetic cause for more achievements to come. The media, I think, would play an important role on this. And I'm sure the Egyptian TV, where we are now having this
Movies.
Definitely. People are very ecstatic about the Mamar, Al-Mamar,
Yes,
or the
I was
passage.
just going to tell you that.
Yes.
When I took my kids to movie Al-Mamar, for
Al-Mamar,
example,
it's going to be on TV.
it was really the kids in
They felt it.
different ages.
Yes.
They are really so enthusiastic about seeing the Egyptian winning, and we should really, for example, the States, for example, in Hollywood, they made thousands of movies regarding World War II and so on, and we should really focus on that, is to devote a budget for producing movies in a good way, and we should really invite the people from all over the world, like Disney, for example, to design a museum for the 6th of October way in simulation and so on. And kids, they love that. And I speak to the army and the armed forces, is to go to school and invite kids to go to the military unit and see how that integrated with their father and their mother and their brother, and so on. The army, Egyptian army with all different branches, it is part of the Egyptian people.
Definitely.
And we should integrate in, as I mentioned before, in all different level in school, whether it's primary school, high school, university. We organize tours to all military site in order to see how that reflect to the safety of Egyptian. There is a war going on in Sinai.
Yes.
We almost got rid of all
And fourth generation
terrorism
war.
over that,
Yeah.
and they don't like that. So the rumor will start to be against us.
Yes.
I believe Egyptian people, they are very smart. They have the will and they have the drive, and I believe we are going in the right direction.
And Dr. Said Khoury, thank you very much for being
You're
with
very
us. And Dr. Ali Shadid, thank you very much for being
Thank
with
you.
us. Very happy anniversary, 46th anniversary for the October War. Well, we hope we see you, and also, you know, as we go along and develop. Very happy 6th of October, Victory Day, 46th anniversary to all Egyptians and all Arabs, actually. And before signing off, I'd like to say, as we always end up, God bless Egypt, God bless our army, God bless our police forces, and God bless our president and the Egyptian people. And ادخلوها بسلام إن شاء الله آمنين. Enter Egypt, God willing, safe. Mubarak شعب مصر. Blessed be Egypt, my people, from the Holy Bible and the Holy Quran. I'm Nermeen Azim signing off. Very good, very great anniversary. Goodbye.